One of the biggest hurdles that classically trained pianists face when they're learning to play contemporary worship music is how to form chords in a way that don't muddy up the sound of the band. And so today we're going to talk about ways to do that. And how we're going to do it is we're going to limit ourselves to having our pinky or our thumb stay on a certain note, which will force us to stay in a certain position. And then slowly we're going to give ourselves permission to spread back out. So that way, if we do move, we're not moving in a way that sounds like we're limited, but we're actually free to do so. So let's take the C major scale. Major scales, if you go up in triads, have a mixture of major and minor, right? Major, minor, minor, two majors, a minor, a diminished, and then a major again, okay? So let's start by limiting ourselves, and we're gonna keep our pinky just on G, or on the fifth. Now, if we were to walk up the scale just like that, but not able to move our pinky, what would we do? Well, C major would be here. And then what about D minor? That sounds good. We could add the AM, but that's a little bit advanced for right now. Let's keep it really simple. E minor would be here. F major. Again, we're going to keep it simple. G major. A minor. Looks like a C major, right? And that's okay. And then finally, the diminished chord looks like that. So with some bass notes. There's some in there that sound satisfying, others that sound a little empty, and that's okay. Now let's move up to the first inversion, and let's get our pinky stuck on C this time. We can't move it. There it is. All right, what will we do next? And once again, some of those sound pleasing, some of them don't. That's okay. We're getting used to limiting ourselves, and we're going to spread out. Let's lastly do the second inversion, and we're going to keep our thumb stuck on G this time. Let's see what happens. I'm partial to the second inversion. I think it sounds strong. So that's a position I often like to be in. Okay, now what if we give ourselves permission to add just a little bit more to that? Well, let's go back to root position and see what happens. All right, I'm going to add maybe an extra note each time I play a chord. Here we go. Starting to sound a little bit more full, right? Something about keeping yourself limited helps you to make more creative choices. What if we did it in the first inversion? Okay, and then try the same thing for the second inversion. See if you can add just maybe one more voice and see if it starts to sound a little bit more like the chord you intended. All right, now, once you've learned how to do that, then you can try this. Put your hand on an octave, the fifth, form the chords inside of that octave and see what you come up with. How about here? Starting to feel a little bit stronger now because you've got that octave. Here's what's even more fun. You can create melodies inside of that octave. What if we did this? Oh, that feels very satisfying. And just so I'm not plagiarizing, I did steal that from Bruce Hornsby. He's a big influence of mine. He does a lot of melodic movement inside of just a big octave, or sometimes in between fifths. All right? Now, so once you've learned that, now you have options. So let's look at how would that play itself out if we had a chord progression. So here's what I'm going to play. I'm going to play G to A minor, E minor, C, and then I'll finish with G over B, D, and then G to finish, okay? So here it is again. I'm going to do root position, G major, A minor, E minor, C, G with the B in the bass, D, and then end on G. So I'm going to walk through the same process I just took you through, okay? Here we go. I'm going to move down for the second inversion. Now with some octaves. Now let's create a melody inside those octaves, about this speed. Here we go. Missed that last chord, but that gives you an idea. Now, what if I'm free to choose any of those? Well, I might do something like this. And that just gives you a little bit more option. Now, to get to that point, it's important that you play other people's songs or other pieces. So learn some classical repertoire and see how basic chords are formed. And then go see if you can find a transcription of one of your favorite tunes, maybe a Charlie Brown tune, or you can use certain worship websites that transcribe piano music and see how those chords are formed. That will help build your vocabulary so that when you go and play with your worship team, you've got a sense of different vocabulary words that you can choose from. If you found this content helpful, I invite you to visit my site, rickbarnesmusic.com, where you can find more video tutorials and a lot of sheet music. Thanks for watching.